Zooey Mama, how's it going everybody? I'm here today to talk about the new card Caiera, who's coming to Marvel Snap. She is a 3-cost, 4-powered card with the very exciting ongoing ability that your 1 and 6-cost cards cannot be destroyed. So before I get into the breakdown of her ability and show the 2 decks that I will be trying out with Caiera in the first week of her release, I do just want to state that this is still currently just data mined, very close to the start of the new season, but Second Dinner has not yet released their official season start announcement and spotlight schedule. So it does look like Caiera will be coming out the very first week alongside the new season pass card Scar, and Caiera will be in spotlights with High Evo and Nebula. Again, this is the most updated information we have, but it is subject to change. Now, I'm going to tell you if I think Caiera is worth it or not chasing after, but I have to say, if you do not have High Evo and or Nebula, this is just a win here, okay? This is an amazing spotlight cache to be in. I do think Caiera is going to be pretty strong, and I'll get more into that, but High Evo and Nebula are insanely strong. So if you need even just one of those cards, this is going to be a great time for you to open some spotlight caches. This is about as good as it gets. And Caiera is a full 6,000 tokens herself. She's going to be Series 5, so picking her up with spotlights I do think is a good idea. Now to show the first deck I'll be playing her in, it is going to be a Zoo deck, because one of the things that Caiera does is essentially hard counters Killmonger. We have no hard counter Killmonger otherwise. Armor is in the game, but armor only protects one location. Caiera is global protection. She's protecting your cards in all 3 lanes. And so Zoo is back on the menu. And we can get really crazy with Zoo. I'm here looking at a bounce list that even uses cards like Martyr and Squirrel Girl just to get a lot of power on the board. Power them up with Khazar, triggering Bishop a bunch of times, getting him really strong. And then of course we have Caiera to protect our entire board. And what's interesting about this deck, because Caiera's ability is so good at stopping Killmonger, there's a good chance that Killmonger just doesn't see much play after she comes out. Okay, there's a good chance that she basically just kind of ruins or kills Killmonger. If that's the case, you could play this Zoo deck without Caiera. If she comes in and changes the meta and changes how people build decks, you may not actually need Caiera to play Zoo. You can just play Zoo, and because other people are playing Caiera, you're not going to run into much Killmonger. So I think that's something really interesting, that even if you don't play Caiera, she might just kind of change how Marvel Snap works, because she is this new hard counter to Killmonger and to Shang-Chi. And that leads me into the next deck where she can protect your cards from Shang-Chi. I'm looking at this Caiera High Evo deck that also features Scar, who's the season pass card for January season Planet Hulk. And so this is a very nice High Evo list. If you did see my Scar review video, I showed this exact same deck. I think Caiera works really well in High Evo because High Evo has these really big, powerful 6-cost cards like the Evolved Hulk or She-Hulk if you're using her. But then it also has Sunspot and Nebula, which it really relies on for early power and just to soak up all that extra energy and extra turns you have. So Caiera is really a double threat here. Okay, we are getting full use out of her ability in a High Evo deck, protecting those very valuable 1-cost cards, but also protecting these 6-cost cards. So if you don't have Caiera, you can go ahead and use armor here, but I think Caiera works really well because she just protects globally, okay, all your lanes. So I'm really excited for that, and I think she'll be a very nice fit with High Evo. Now to sum it all up with my official ratings, the more and more I think about Caiera, the more and more I like her, okay? I'm actually giving her a bit better scores than I did in my initial video that just looked at all the January cards, because when I went to deck build, I realized she's got a good amount of options and places that she can call home. So in terms of being fun, I think she's very fun. Again, she's bringing back this Zoo archetype that we basically haven't seen since we were all playing in Pool 1 before we unlocked Killmonger. So she brings that back, and I think she just changes the game. She kind of fundamentally changes the cards you play and the possible counter cards that you can run. Again, she really digs a big blow to Killmonger and Shang-Chi. In terms of being flexible, I think she's pretty flexible. Okay, she is a 3-cost card, so not the cheapest, and she herself isn't contributing much power. She is just 4 power, so she may feel a bit clunky at times. Again, with a high evo deck or with Zoo Bounce, you may be trying to do something else on turn 3, so it may feel weird at times. Is she competing with the other 3 drops? So I don't think every deck is going to be a home for her, but I think a decent number will, and so I do think she's pretty flexible, giving her 3 out of 4 stars there. And in terms of being competitive, I think it's probably there. Okay, I'm also giving her 3 out of 4 for being competitive. I don't think she's busted. I do think there's a chance that people go too big and run too many big 6-cost cards. Okay, and a lot of times those decks don't just lose because the 6-cost cards get killed. They lose because you start the game and you draw 4 6-cost cards and you can't do anything the first couple turns. You just get behind in tempo. And so Caiera does not solve the tempo problem. She's just protecting these 1 and 6-cost cards. So protecting 1-cost cards can help with tempo, although it's possible your opponent gets Killmonger down before you can play Caiera, or people start running Electra, or whatever happens. But in terms of protecting 6-cost cards, we may just see more lockdown, people playing more Storm, people playing more Goose, people doing things to offset the 6-cost cards. And if you are playing tempo and you have a Goliath, you can kill your opponent's 6-cost card if you have priority, even if they have Caiera down, okay? Because a Goliath will kill a card before it's revealed, so Caiera ain't helping it. So I do think people might fall into that trap, and that's why I'm not giving Caiera 4 stars in competitive. I think as a 3-cost card, she is resources that are needed in game. You know, you do have to play her, which means you're missing out on some other decent card that turn, and you may just lose out to bad draws or not having enough, you know, tempo or synergy. Because remember that she doesn't really do specific synergy, she just protects stuff, okay? She's a very generalist, but she may not actually help the overall power or synergistic effects of a deck. So I do think she's gonna be pretty good. I think she is worth picking up in Spotlight caches. If you don't have High Evo or Nebula, definitely pick her up in Spotlight caches is my advice. If you do have High Evo and Nebula already, I think she still might be worth it. Okay, again, she's 6,000 tokens, so she is better to get from caches. And I do think whether she's insanely strong or just good, she will change the meta and she will change the game, and she's going to be a good card to have at different times. In different metas, she'll come back stronger or maybe a bit weaker, but I think you're always going to want her in the back pocket. Okay, always have her as a possible deck building option. So those are my final thoughts on Caiera. Let me know what you think of her in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time.